I don't know if you know, but Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 released recently, which I am very normal about. You could say I delta my rune occasionally, if you know what I'm saying. Deltarune as a game has had such a big impact on my life already, despite the fact that it's barely halfway done. I love this game. Its characters, its world, its music, so much about this game caters to me specifically. It's done irreparable damage to my psychology. I mean, look at this guy, how could it not? So, I want to talk about it, but not just the review. That's boring. Today, I want to look at what people value about Deltarune more than anything else. The music, the characters, the chapters, ranking which character has the longest nose, the boss fights. Yeah, okay, I can work with that. I feel the battle system in Deltarune has limitless potential. You spend your turn figuring out how to calm the enemy down through random actions that relate to them, like showing tender loving care to a computer virus. Then on their turn, you don't just take damage, you actually have to dodge the enemy's attacks. And this is where the combat is the strongest. The range of things thrown at you, from simple diamond-shaped projectiles to ambulances rushing through traffic, is endlessly charming, and it's something the bosses take full advantage of. Combine that with the connection you may have to these boss characters, and you have yourself a highlight of your adventure. I think we all know how boss fights work, so let's not waste any more time. I'm ranking them all. Chapters 1 through 4. Then maybe I'll update it when the new chapters come out, we'll see. Let's go over the incredible system I cooked up to make it easier to rank them. I'll be using a rating scale, 1 through 5, with 4 categories to judge them by. First up, character/personality. Is the character we're fighting interesting? Do they have a good reason to be fighting you? Does the fight make itself memorable through some kind of visual thing? It doesn't rely on just who we're fighting. Do our heroes add some personality to the fight with fun interactions? Does it further their own story arcs in any way? A boss that can do both will do really well here. Next up, music. Now, I could just judge it on if the song sounds good or not, but this is Tobert Foxington we're talking about, so like every song it makes is good. I'm gonna try and be a bit harsher than usual and not only consider if the song slaps, but if there is something I can pull out of it. How well does it tell the story of who we're fighting? Are there any other motifs that hint towards other characters? Stuff like that. Next is mechanics/attacks. How interesting are the objects they throw at us? Does it match their character? Is it unique? What about extra mechanics never seen before? This would apply to the different soul colors as well as the changes to the formula, like the punch-out fights and the minigames in Tennis Battle. You don't get free points for being unique though, it has to actually be fun. And finally, build-up. Does this fight feel earned or does it just come out of nowhere? This mainly benefits chapter bosses, but I feel that's fair. I considered adding other categories like the character design of the boss, but that can go under characters, so I think this works. After ranking them all with this system, it felt pretty accurate to my opinion. Most of the time. There are some bosses that I felt got screwed over by this ranking. Maybe they had a really cool mechanic, but just struggled in other aspects. Since this is my list and I can do anything, I occasionally move things around based on what I felt was right. Now, what counts as a boss? Some are pretty obvious, but some are a bit tricky. Like, does Shudda count? It's presented as a mini-boss, but it's really just a stronger version of a regular enemy. Does it count? I say... Look, I really just want to talk about Deltarune, so anything I even remotely considered a boss I put on here. So that leaves us with 37. Oh boy, okay. Is it not too late to just rank the chapters or something? Alright, well, after careful consideration, our boss roster includes... Lancer, K-Round, Clover, Lancer and Susie, Susie, K-Round again, Jevil, King, Arcade Queen, Sweet Kappa Cakes, Birdly again, but in the Snowgrave route, Spamton, Neo again, but in the Snowgrave route. Task Manager, Mouse Wheel, Rules Card, Where Wire, Queen, Giga Queen, La Nino and El Nino, both water cooler fights, I'm not counting them separately. Biggest hater, yes actually, Shudda, Rules Card again, the Shadow Mantle, or the Eram, whatever the fuck it's called, Tenna, the Knight, Mike, Jackenstein, Miss Mizzle, the Old Man statue, Titan Spawn, and the Titan. And all these are assuming you're sparing them instead of fighting them. Except the Snowgrave ones, obviously. Phew, okay. I don't know how long this video is going to be, so without further ado, let's just begin. I'll tell you the most difficult boss right now. It's recording this for like 3 hours while it's 90 degrees outside with my fan on. So, the thing about bosses in Deltarune, there aren't really any bad ones. A lot of the ones near the bottom are just short encounters with a personality-less mini-boss that's really just there to give you a quick fight. So even though we're at number 37, the bottom, I still wouldn't consider this fella to be a bad fight, just the least interesting. So with that said, the worst boss in all of Deltarune, chapters 1 through 4, is... Mouse Wheel. It's just not that interesting. Doesn't have much dialogue, it's over in like 3 turns, and it's just a harder version of a regular enemy. Doesn't even have a battle theme. It does that thing where the area theme plays over the battle, which I think is cool. It makes the Queen's Mansion seem a lot more climactic, but at the cost of making this fight a bit forgettable. It's not even the only boss to do this, so it stands out even less. Speaking of which, Task Manager is the one to come in and end the fight, which is fun. You sparing a mini-boss from earlier makes this fight a bit easier. But, you know, the competition's stiff. My favorite thing about this boss is how you spare it. In a reference to Mousetrap, you gotta trap the mice in this big cage. The more you catch, the more spare you get. It's pretty fun, which is why it gets a 3 for mechanics, but as you can see, it didn't help it that much. It does reference Sonic in its small amount of dialogue, so like maybe I'm being too harsh.
Don't be intimidated, Squidward. Try to imagine him in his underwear. Oh no, he's hot!
On the path to claim the really cool axe. You'll hear these little cup guys talk about some lady they want to impress. Climb to the top and... what? There's no one here. Story of my life, I guess. Whoa! She is hot! There's not too much to say about this fight, really. She doesn't have any unique attacks. She just borrows the water cooler's attacks from Chapter 3, and then when she changes form and gets significantly less hot, she just uses the attacks from the other water enemies in this chapter. She doesn't even use the unique song made for the water coolers from Chapter 3. The most memorable thing about this fight is how verbose she is, even in water cooler form. You'll hear things like... well, now I'm gonna look up how to pronounce the words so I don't sound stupid. What word am I looking for? Cajole. Cajole. Let me look up what cajole. How do you pronounce it? Cajole. I was right. I'm a genius. Young soldier, your words are sweet like honeydew. Is it the first time you've spoken to a lady such as I? You think then that I shall drink the words from those that would flatter and cajole and find them sweet? Nay. You would do well to save such tangy powders for a man or woman of the tap. Then look over at the fucking water cooler that just said that. It's fun, I don't know. I really like the design of the boss. She's really majestic. The flowing water creates such an interesting and beautiful design that, oh wait, sorry, wrong clip. That really comes across as a ruler of the water. But yeah, there's not much else to say. It's a fun callback and twist to the water cooler trilogy, but not much else. Clover is definitely a boss. The only reason he gets a 2 in build-up is because that one guy mentions it's her birthday earlier. That counts, I guess. There you can get hints on how to spare her, but even then, it's just not that interesting. It's fun to hear their reactions to what you say, but not that fun. Their attacks are kind of boring. Chapter 1 needed at least one club enemy, and it gets points for being unique, but the attacks themselves are just fine. The best attack they have only shows up in the rematch, which I'm not including here. And to top it all off, he uses the generic battle theme. It's not a bad boss, it just feels a little unnecessary. We're not far from the K-Round fight, and it's not long before Lancer and Susie battle you, so like, It's still better than the other two because, I don't know, it's Chapter 1. Having a more challenging battle to test your skills, but still a simple one this early on, makes sense. Clover has more personality than Mouse Wheel, who has, like, none. I like the little rainbow that shows up when you spare them. It's cute. I'm cat biased? I don't know, moving on. Cat beats Mouse once again. And also, water cooler spirit thing. Whoa! It's another Queen's Mansion mini-boss. This time, it's Wire. I think Wire is one of the coolest enemies in the game. The bright neon colors and long limbs make this enemy seem a lot stronger than it actually is. So of course we get a stronger version as a mini-boss. Although, honestly, I prefer the regular enemy from a design standpoint. It looks cool, but the vibrant colors stood out more than just blue. Also, what's his deal? What made him special enough to be the penultimate boss of Chapter 2? The way he tosses his sparks at us after shooting a bunch of lasers is pretty neat. Although I could say the same thing about the basic Wires as well. Honestly, this guy's a little forgettable. I tried to add every boss through memory alone and then replay the game to see who I missed, and Wire was the only one. This is despite Chapter 3 and 4 coming out less than 3 days ago at the time. He really is just kind of there. Not bad, just not good. We're not done with the mansion yet! We got one more! I still don't understand why Toby made a robot humanoid cat maid who wields a whip. Like he knew, right? Anyways, this fight is fine. It's cool that you can skip it as long as you get her little quiz right, but the fight is fun enough for me to intentionally get it wrong so I can do it. You gotta listen to whether she says A, B, C, or D, and then go to that spot in the box. I wish it got a little more complex, which again, it is in the rematch, but I'm not including that. Her other attacks are cool too. I like the way the lightning shoots out of her whip in this one. But again, no unique battle theme. The most interesting thing about her character is that she references Jevil. That's something, I guess. Yeah, not much else to say. We'll get to the interesting fight soon, I promise. But not yet. Here's Shudda. It's the only mini-boss that's actually just a regular enemy, just beefed up for this fight. The only reason I included it was because it got what I assume is the new mini-boss theme, just a more intense version of Rude Buster called Ruder Buster. Alright. I'll talk more about it in the other fight the song is used for because I think it fits them better, but I really like this remix. I also included Shudda because he's set up like a mini-boss, appearing near the end of the area and having a little cutscene to introduce him. I like his gimmick, taking screenshots of attacks and changing their direction or spinning them around. However, I feel it works better as a support attack. It's much more threatening when it's used with the Shadow Men. For his mini-boss fight, he just uses the literal first attack you see from a basic enemy in Chapter 1. It's a bit lame, but it works, I guess. Sparing him is a bit more interesting. You gotta pay attention to what he wants a picture of and then time it right. My favorite is the one where you gotta get a pic of Lancer with his tongue out, even though it's always out, so this is bullshit. It's fun. It's a good cap off to using the camera for puzzles. That's about it. Also, he creeps me out. Okay. If there were a controversial pick in this list, it would be here. It's a fight the community holds in high regard, belonging to a fan favorite character that I just never truly got the way everyone else seemed to. I find the mechanics themselves to be shallow, and the way to end the fight is just a little confusing, and I'm sorry. But number 31 is Water Cooler. Don't get me wrong, it's funny, and it's probably the biggest threat the fun game has faced so far. But like, come on, you didn't expect it to get that high, did you? I like how its attack feels like something charging up. Like this creature is going to eviscerate you when it readies itself. The Water Cooler. It gets a bit repetitive though, even with the slight variations to the way it charges up. The song that plays during these fights, Vapor Buster, is really funny to me because like, we all knew about it for years. Like a lot of other Chapter 3 songs, we got a snippet of it during the Spampton Sweepstakes back in 2022, where it played alongside a clip of a Shadow Man fight. I remember thinking this might be the new battle theme. It's a bit more intense now, possibly reflecting the slight increase in tension the story has now. Or maybe because it's sort of vaporwavy, the battle theme might have slight variations based on the TV area we're in. No, it's just a Water Coolers theme. It's funny. The song itself is just a remix of the basic battle theme, like I said. It works. But yeah, sorry guys. This fight, not as good as people think. K-Round. The first one. There's not too much to say about this fight. It is the first real boss after the tutorial, so that's something. Honestly, the most interesting thing about this fight is the music that plays during it. Despite it being during a random mini-boss, it gets its own unique banger theme. I'm not complaining, it's just strange. There's not too much to say about the song other than that it sounds cool, which is why it only gets a 2, unfortunately. It's an important fight for Susie's character arc. Susie just wants to fight stuff. She's not really taking any of it seriously, but fighting this powerful beast only makes it stronger. It drinks photorealistic milk, which is allegedly the same milk used for, it's a powerful milk. Then when Susie's told that what she did wasn't helpful, it only made things more difficult. She joins the enemy! Betrayal! So it gets points for that, I guess. It's also cool that we're fighting this thing because a regular C-round enemy made it to the end of the checkers board and got crowned. You know, like a checker piece. For some reason that gives it realistic legs, which is becoming a concerning pattern in these games, I won't lie. The fight itself is okay. The attacks are hit or miss. The stomping one is cool, but eh. It's Chapter 1 after all, most of the attacks are pretty tame compared to the rest of the chapters, and this fight is no different. So yeah, moving on. Hey kid, what was the highlight of your Deltarune adventure? The fight where you caused a domestic dispute. I feel like this is the first boss on the list where the enemies are actual characters. But just because these guys are at the bottom doesn't mean I don't like them. I love La Niña and El Niño and their little character arcs throughout Chapter 3. It is hard to talk about most of it without mentioning a certain other character, but we'll get to them later. While I enjoy the characters we're fighting against, the fight itself is kinda mediocre. First off, the fight can't really take advantage of the fact that I like these characters because the interesting stuff about their story doesn't start until after the fight. Before that, they really are just our boss encounter. Nothing more, nothing less. And like, I'm okay with the Zelda sections from Chapter 3. I think they're neat. But why are the weather reporters out here? Not in like a studio or something? It works for the pacing of the chapter, but we just fight them in a desert instead of a weather studio somewhere. Speaking of which, their attacks focus much more on them being a couple instead of them being weather reporters, which works. The fight starts with them as a happy couple, the weather sticks together, all that. As the fight goes on and one of them gets more annoying about being better, they overtake the other's attacks until the other leaves. It fits, but man, I don't know, a weather duo could have had some sick attacks. Might be the one case Undertale beats Deltarune or something. I remember there being a theory that these guys were going to introduce blue and orange attacks from Undertale because, I don't know, one's blue and the other's close enough. But no. And now I don't know if they will show up. I'm not going to count that against the fight, but it's still a shame. Like I said, the story this fight sets up with one of them getting cocky, making the other upset, leads to the best part of Chapter 3. But the fight itself is... The music is good enough. It uses the same theme Shudda did, and maybe it's just my brain making it make sense, but it sounds a bit like a weather report. Or at least a little like a news station. So it fits this fight more than Shudda's. It's also a banger, as per usual. But it's still just a remix of the battle theme, so it's not that cool. So yeah, I really love La Niña and El Niño, but this fight is really just an introduction to them rather than their shining moment. And just like that, he's back! We had to take a little weather intermission, I apologize, but now we can get back to our regularly scheduled K-round. For the most part, it is the exact same fight with the exact same character. It's technically different, but if even the game is pointing out how similar they are, then like, I don't know what you want me to say. What saves this fight is the point in the story this takes place. All throughout Card Castle, Susie's been trying her best to be a team player. Every interaction in the castle is great, from her outright denying to flirt to her amazing job at it. It's a great stepping stone in her character arc for the chapter, and it all culminates with this fight. She gets another chance of fighting the same enemy from before, another chance to prove she really wants to be a hero, and of course she intends to go through with it, even suggesting a way to remove its crown on her own. Well, she is Susie after all. This on its own pushed the fight way higher than it should have been. We see Susie really trying to help, while doing it in a humorous and in-character way. And like, the action of timing the throw is fun enough to justify a rematch. If we were doing the same thing we were last time, then this would be way lower, but throwing Rousey is fun, come on. Other than that, yeah, it's the same fight, same music, same guy, you get it. Lower she blows. Okay, even though a lot of these fights are just random mini-bosses most people probably don't care about, people may get upset at me ranking this one this high. Maybe not though, because it's sick. It's Punch-Out, baby! I love Punch-Out. And look, it's Punch-Out! There's not too much to say here. It's obviously just here for the fucking home run Toby hits at the end of the chapter, but it's still really fun. Just a good minute of Punch-Out action. It gets you more accustomed to Queen's personality, and is overall just a good tone setter for chapter 2. It's not that deep. Punch-Out is fun. Moving on. Okay, I forgot these two were back to back. This is definitely the most questionable, and if this even counts as a boss, but I included it because I thought it was funny. Look, if the Punch-Out Queen fight counts as a boss, then so does this, alright? I don't want to hear it. Biggest hater trademark is interesting. A lot of people don't like the Susie Zale minigame, probably because of how it controls, which I get, but I think it's meant to have a loose, chaotic feel. You're swinging around a lizard, guys. It's not going to control like Halo. You gotta protect Dr. Tenneville from all his haters, including a very familiar figure with crossed-out eyes. I'm pretty sure this was the first major Spamton reference in the chapter, and when I say my friends and I lost our minds when we saw it for the first time, I mean it. If you don't hit him to reset his big shot trademark, you can consider your goose cooked and your TV killed. And oh boy, the music. Again, it probably doesn't count as a boss theme. It's the physical challenge song, but I'm rating it anyways. When we heard My Funky Town back in 2022, I hoped and I prayed we would get more songs with a saxophone in Chapter 3, because it just sounds so smooth. While we didn't really get that thanks to the Zelda sections, the times we did get it, like in TV World, and especially this song, make me wish we got more of it. It sounds so good. The song itself is so fun and energetic, perfectly matching an old game show game like this. But that sax. That sax. Now that, I am not the biggest hater of, I tell you what. Okay, but he's a pirate now. Oh, Rules. You're such a character. After joining you on your quest for all of 5 minutes, Rule sets out to make connections. This time with Queen, wanting to be her number 2. For some reason, this is gonna help in doing that. For his first real encounter, he's dressed up like a pirate. Or is he? For you see, it is all a facade. His real chariot is right here. That shitty mech you built in Chapter 1. It's a really cool callback to what I thought was going to be a one-off gag. Rules has different attacks based on which parts you chose last chapter, which is really cool. I don't have much to say about the attacks themselves. They all make sense for the part attacking, and that's about it. Sometimes he'll even throw these stupid boxes from Chapter 1. But honestly, none of that is what I remember this fight for. Rules is here with a little minigame, and honestly, it's a little mini lame. On your turn, you can select up to 4 houses on this little board to change it to your... It's already over. I didn't even finish the sentence. Yeah, this puzzle is easily beaten by just beelining it to his side and blocking him off from getting his robo-wife. I get that's like his thing, easily solvable puzzles, but like even still, this was a bit pathetic. Not that the concept was even that strong to begin with. I love how nobody knew how to pronounce Rules' dumb as fuck name, so Toby named his battle theme It's Pronounced Rules. Rules' regular theme is really good, so seeing it change to a battle theme with a pirate vibe is so cool. If we ever fight Rules again, I can't wait to see how this theme evolves to fit the scenario. Can't wait to see that. I love the voice samples used in the song. I swear it's the same sample for Dancing Mad from Final Fantasy VI. I mean, it makes sense. 2 beings of equal power. It still rules. Rousey asking him to stop speaking in 2 accents at once, and then Rules just being like, yeah, okay. It's fun. Rules is fun. We still don't know what insane power he was going to show off at the end there. The power of polyamory? No, wait, no, we're not there yet. Whoa. Mood shift. I don't think any of us are ready for the ending of Chapter 4. It's something I'll talk about more when we get to Large in Charge over here, but for now we're dealing with these things. Titan Spawn 1 and 2 are really just a tutorial for the Titan fight later. Your soul is now shining bright, and getting close to these attacks slowly gets rid of them. Once they disappear, they drop these little pellets, and grabbing them fills your TP bar, which is harder to do normally in these dark fights. It's a great evolution of the tension mechanic, where if you get too close to an enemy attack without hitting it, you fill up this bar, which allows you to use spells or attacks or stuff like that. Now you have to do that to survive, and it's exhilarating. Especially with the heightened stakes of this fight. This is the first fight in the game against something that can't be communicated with. King ignored us, yeah, but it was still a person that could be understood. Here, we have no choice but to find another way around, as they can't be dealt with like a person. It's really cool and intimidating. But they also aren't characters, so that's like a 2. And again, they're just introduction for mechanics used in the fight after, so they do get a unique song, and it's really intense. There's not much else to say about it, as it falls into the same pit as the Titan spawns we're fighting. It's really intense battle music, but not much else. It's interesting. For all of Toby's games, every enemy we face so far is some kind of motive or character, but now we're dealing with these monstrous, mindless beings. It's a cool change of pace. Again, I want to save this all for the next fight, and the fact that I've said that like 3 times now means I should probably move on. But overall, it's just a good solid challenge that just continues to build the tension leading to the end of this insane chapter. Going from one of the last fights in the game to the first. Lancer. For a tutorial fight, this is not bad. His attacks are pretty tame, but they have a lot of personality and are a great introduction to the kind of stuff you're going to be dodging. The first attack you see in this grand adventure is a little kid ramming his bike into you. It's perfect. The second time, he dashes through you and drives with the wall, shooting spades in your direction, catching you off guard if you're not paying attention. It's simple, but for the first fight in the game, it works really well. I'm obviously a big fan of Lancer, but at this point in the story, he kinda is just the bad guy. You get to see a bit more of what he's like afterwards, but for right now, he's just kind of an annoying little dude. Still Lancer, and it does a good job establishing that Susie isn't going along with his adventure stuff by ignoring her commands and doing what she wants, at least for now. As for the music, I get why they went with a generic battle theme for this fight. It is the first in the game, so using Lancer's unique battle theme would have been weird. So like, it makes sense. Still giving it a 1 for music though. But yeah, good tutorial. He's so round. Alright, look, we got 3 Birdly fights to get through in Chapter 2 alone, and I want to save interesting stuff about this fight for the actually good one, so let's just get this out of the way. The second encounter with Birdly is fine. It's a good chance for Noelle to participate in a boss fight. There are a lot of really fun interactions between everyone, and that's about it. I'm not upset about Birdly using the same song or even the same attacks because we just fought him like 20 minutes ago, and for the most part the reason we're fighting him is the exact same as the last time we did. So yeah, Birdly 2, it's a fight. Yay. I can't wait to watch him take wing. Sweet Cap'n Cakes. The further we get from Chapter 2, the more I seem to like these guys for some reason. No, I didn't want their theme taking up 90% of the soundtrack like everyone else, but I don't know, I can't hate them like some people seem to. I really like their designs, the way they interact is a lot of fun, and kind of make me wish we got more of them. I just find them really charming. They're a really good mid-boss for this area, as they've been following you around all of Cyberfield. Even though they've been attacking you, it's clear they aren't really a threat and are just chill dudes. They fit the vibe of the cyber world really well. Something really cool about their attacks is that it syncs to the music of the fight. Ranging from little lightning bolts being shot out of the speakers to these adorable tiny versions of them shooting spitballs or something at you, all sync to the music. It's so cool. When Chapter 2 initially came out, there was a bug that made the last attack from these guys last a really long time. I think that was taken out, but honestly, I kinda liked it. It gave you time to realize the attacks were synced, and without it, I feel like this cool gimmick isn't used to its full potential, unfortunately. This fight's also important because it introduces S action and R action, allowing Rousey and Susie to do a little action on their turn. Makes the combat flow even faster, and we have this fight to thank for it. The way it gets introduced is great too. Susie just realizes like, hey wait, why can't we do that? Happy feet, dumbass. And of course, ending cutscene, such a perfect cap off to this fight. It has so much personality, and it's going to be one of the more memorable fights. Of course, I say that at number 21, but like, this game is stacked, alright? And he's back. I know at this point we've already seen Noelle, so we're sort of used to the fact that other Light World characters are going to start appearing in the Dark World, but seeing Birdly show up out of nowhere is just so unexpected. It's like, of course he'd be here. He was with Noelle, but for some reason my mind was blocking him out. For some reason. Birdly is such a good addition to Chapter 2. I know some people find him unironically annoying, but those people are wrong, so it's okay. Come on guys, he's a gamer! He's one of us! One of the boys! Okay, anyways. This fight is pretty neat. Riding super fast on this roller coaster above the city with the fountain flowing in the distance is such a cool backdrop for this fucking nerd. I wish the fight incorporated the fact that we're on roller coasters more. Something the other fight in a roller coaster does a bit better. But it's okay. Up here, Birdly throws a straight A's at you, which is great, as well as an attack way cooler than he deserves from the Halberd. Get it? I believe this is the first boss in the game that has the mercy meter, so it makes sense why the method we use to stop him is so simple. Just bump into him a bunch. It's simple and it works, but it is a bit lame. Although most fights in the game don't require a minigame to deal mercy and just require you to do an action at the guy, so I'm not going to hold it against him too hard. And bumping into his little cart is fun enough. Goes without saying, Smart Race is a banger. I love how you can hear Queen's theme faintly in the background during the beginning of it, showing he's really just a pawn for her evil schemes at the end of the day. So yeah, overall continuing the fun vibes of Chapter 2, which is all this boss needed to do. No, but genuinely, how did he survive this? I cannot tell you how surreal it is to write Mike down as a boss on this list, but here we are. If you were around the Deltarune fanbase in between Chapter 2 and 3, you probably know how big a deal Mike was. He ended up not being that big of a deal, but like, can you blame us? After fighting the secret boss of Chapter 1, Jevil, he mentions a character named Queen, who becomes the main boss of Chapter 2. And then, if you fight the secret boss of Chapter 2, Spamton, he mentions a character named Mike. So clearly, Mike is the main boss of Chapter 3. No. But even if Mike was an off-screen gag character who answers to Tenna, we still got a surprisingly fan-servicey boss fight starring the man himself. Okay, there's more than one. Over the course of the fight, multiple Mikes will come in saying they're the one and only Mike. All their designs are based on popular fan theories for who Mike was going to be before Chapter 3 came out. This one is similar to the basic Mike is a TV-headed show host, which, to be fair, ended up kind of being right. Pluie here is based on the theory that Mike would be a cat, I believe because of the elemental pairings, also something else I don't really feel like explaining right now. And finally, this one has a cowboy hat, which is certainly a reference. It's fun. Even though every theory was wrong, I really like having them being acknowledged. When the fight ends, it's revealed that none of them are Mike, and they have no idea who the real Mike is, or if he even exists, and... oh god, okay, this is how we look, huh? And then the final reveal. Turns out, after all this, the real Mike is just a fucking JPEG of a microphone. I'd love to send this to the fan base 2 years ago, it'd be hilarious. Fuck, I haven't even talked about the fight itself. There's so many cool mechanics in this fight. There's even 2 different versions, but I'm sticking to one because I didn't play the Switch 2 version, despite playing it on the Switch 2. I don't know why that happened, but whatever. First off, you control this little hand and use it to pet the mics, as well as the cat projectiles that come into the fight later. You can also slide along a set path to avoid these little microphone guys. Then eventually, you have to grab some blue cats and put them in baskets, travel around the arena petting these cats before they wake up and attack, and oh my god, there's so much going on with this fight. It never becomes too much though. It gets intense, but it's a really fun balancing act with all these cool mechanics. If you felt like they were underdeveloped, well, you can mess around with them in some minigames afterwards. It's one of those fights where you understand why this game took 3 years, you know? All playing over this jazzy version of Spamton's theme for some reason. The theory is that Spamton just stole all his leitmotifs from the TV people he used to work with, and like, I mean, yeah, that makes sense, he's a spam email, that's in his character. But yeah, for the really cool references to the fan base, the insane amount of mechanics, and just the overall vibe in its connection to Chapter 3, it gets this high. About halfway through the list. Man, with fights this good, where are we gonna go from here? Oh. It's you. Chapter 2 will always hold a place in my heart. Even as more chapters come out, and some being probably better, it's still my favorite chapter just for the vibes. The cyber world and its massive Ferris wheels and shining lights, the lighthearted story that gets us more familiar with some of the game's major characters, the fact that we were stuck with it for over 3.5 years, and finally, Spamton. Just him in general. There's a lot I can say about this little fella, but there's other encounters with him that will allow me to say more. No, now we're just talking about his first one. His sales pitch, you could say. Already, the tone is a little creepy. You're on your own in a dingy, gross alleyway. It's quiet. And then... suddenly this thingy starts speaking in broken English at you, claiming to have what you need, and you're like, yeah, okay, he seems trustworthy. Like, I'm used to the small one now, but I'm trying to remember my reaction to him for the first time, and it was probably great unease. The fight starts so abruptly as well. It consists of you trying to accept his deals, but not giving him money, for he's only after the freedom to call his own shots. Even though he's attacking you, it's clear he doesn't want you to get hurt. A little press of the F1 key and... he's really just trying to do a deal. But his mind is so far gone, he's still attacking you throughout. Speaking of which, his attacks are surprisingly difficult to dodge, especially the attack where he shoots a bunch of small versions of himself at you. It's hard to tell when they're going to jump up. But, I don't know, I'm still not a big fan of his attacks. They fit, they work, they're unique, but there's only 3, and they all have him grow his head really big and do stuff with that, so definitely not the strongest aspect of the fight. The music is instantly iconic, of course. It's the first time any song in the game has lyrics singing his iconic catchphrase, which the song is named after, or it's mostly named after. Why does it cut off right there? It's really high energy though. Like it's trying to have fun, but you just can't shake this strange feeling like something is gonna go horribly wrong, which is why it sounds upbeat but distorted at the same time. It fits perfectly is what I'm saying. Meanwhile, this guy is spewing the average spam email at you like enlarge yourself, even hitting you with the occasional help. The fight concludes as you accept his deal, and he is overjoyed. He asks you to come back later to his dump house and scurries on his little way. It's a crazy fight, just comes and goes. As soon as it's over, you're back with Queen and it's never mentioned again. You did make a deal with him though. He told you to meet with him later, alone. This deal sits at the back of your mind. What did it mean? It's a very memorable moment of Chapter 2. Just a little simple in the gameplay department, but that's okay. We forgive him. The Shadow Mantle, or ERAM, or whatever it's called, is by default the most unique fight in the game. Chapter 3 was full of these Zelda-inspired boards, so of course we're going to get a boss in this style. It's just not what I expected at all. If you don't suck ass at the game, you'll get an S rank on Tenna's board, allowing you to access the S rank rooms. The song that plays here is called Dump. I feel like a winner. Here you'll meet the coolest dude ever! Please tell me your story, please! RAM here lets you play the original game Tenna changed around, and it's all basically a hint towards Snowgrave. You know, sometimes I forget that in like 20 years people are gonna have to find Snowgrave on their own. They weren't around when it was discovered, so there would have to be some kind of hint towards it in game, and this is it. Make your way through the dungeons and freeze enemies until eventually you'll enter an 8-bit version of the bunker. Shelter, fuck. Inside is the Shadow Mantle. The thing Sham said you would need to stand a chance against the secret boss of Adventure No 3. Yeah, we're actually fighting as if this were a Zelda game, and it's pretty tricky. It'll throw bombs, shoot fireballs, summon, it's definitely a bit generic for stuff thrown at us compared to an internet chat, but I can forgive it given the intense vibes of the fight and the obvious Zelda inspiration. It's fun, but even still, there are other fights in the game that change up the gameplay completely while having more than that going for it. ERAM doesn't really have a personality, or at least a super memorable one. It might not be the Shadow Mantle. This could be a form of the cat friend we keep seeing when he's hanging out in the shelter. So maybe this is a character we'll meet later, but for right now, they just aren't that interesting. Not as interesting as RAM, but tell me your secrets. The song is good. Doesn't have the freedom of choose. But yeah, it's fun. It's not even the secret boss, it's just the thing you do to survive against the secret boss. But it's a really unique way of giving us what we need to do it. No, seriously, we can talk about your life story over a coffee or something. So, Chapter 1 is good. It's, you know, it's good. I've definitely grown to appreciate it more over time for having a really solid character arc for Susie. It's nice to see her finally get a real friend and feel comfortable enough to show her true side for once, even if it's still under a bit of a tough guy attitude. Anyways, her misadventures with Lancer in Chapter 1 all culminate in a final battle with the two of them. Maybe I've ranked this a bit too high, but I can't help it. Lancer and Susie are just so fun together. Surely nothing will go wrong. It's just a solid fight. You'll face similar attacks to Lancer's first battle, like him ramming his bike into you, but now Susie's riding along while throwing axes at your face. Teamwork. And finally, Lancer gets his own battle theme. Since it only plays when you fight here, it could have incorporated a bit of Susie's theme, but it probably would have been out of place. Plus, Susie's trying to ignore that side of herself for now and just have fun, so it makes sense, I guess. Fucking banger, though. Yeah, that's it, really. It's just a great continuation of the best part of Chapter 1 and sets up the final act. Sometimes, that's all you need. I feel like I've done a lot of reflecting on how I feel about the chapters recently. Chapter 2 is great, Chapter 1 does this thing well, now it's Chapter 3's turn. I had a lot of fun with this chapter, I really did. But there was one thing that I absolutely did not expect. So I gotta ask, did anyone else think that Rules killed it this chapter? Like, I liked Rules, right? He was entertaining, I guess. But in Chapter 3, again, I played this for the first time with some of my friends, and there were multiple times where we were dying at whatever the hell Rules was doing. The build-up, the fucking build-up to everyone going to Lover's Peak. The weather duo finally reuniting. You must be the ex and be fucking dead. Let me say it, let me say it. Oh my god. I can't, it's too good. Of course, him being here meant we would fight him eventually. But turns out, he doesn't want to fight. By dating the weather people, he's already Tenna's number 2 through the transited properties, so we're good. Dude, when he's listing all the things his love heirs do for him, and he says one of them again, just with 2 at the end of it, I can't, man. Walk forward like 10 steps, and he's like, It's not how it works. Anyways, on to the fight. It's okay. It does some unique stuff like its Chapter 2 fight, and it's fun. You gotta time your presses to land on the Lancer button while avoiding the Rules button. It's fun, it's unique, but I don't know, not the biggest fan. The reason this fight is so high is, again, Rules is the best character when he pulls out the laser pointer. So anyways, yeah, the fight's really here just so we can get more Rules action, and I'm okay with that. Unfortunately, the music is a bit disappointing. It's just the same one from Chapter 2. And while I could forgive Birdley using the same song, this less so. For one, it's in a different chapter, and for two, it's still pirate-themed. He's not a pirate anymore. It fits, I guess, but I don't know, it's just a bit upsetting. Like nothing TV-themed or even Chef-themed, just the same song again. Oh well. Still, the vibes of this fight are immaculate. And seeing how heavy things are going to get near the end of the chapter and seemingly the rest of the game, having a fight that's just for fun is a great move. Please come back and do funny man things again. Rules, what the fuck? Stop following up your goofy boss fights with crazy mood-shifting ones. Dick. Our first foray into the weird route, and in my opinion, it's Birdley's best outing. Despite the fight taking place in the exact same location as the second Birdley fight, the tone is completely different. Your manipulation of Noelle is in its early stages. It could still be stopped if someone just noticed and stood in your way. Something Birdley actually does. He starts off as his usual goofy self, but as soon as he notices something's wrong with Noelle, he shakes it off and takes it very seriously. I feel like people don't mention this side of Birdley. Yeah, he's funny, but he knows when it's not appropriate, and it's when his best friend is in danger. His battle sprite changes from a cocky smile to a more serious look, and his attacks are more threatening than they usually are. It's a nice detail to show he's really trying here. The music is simple, there's nothing from Birdley's theme or Noelle's or anyone, just a short, extremely tense drum beat that adds to the feeling that you really aren't supposed to be doing this. Of course, this fight only has one outcome. Using the thorn ring you got from Spamton, you tell Noelle to use her new spell. She's confused, saying she doesn't know what that is. She tells you to stop over and over, but you continue anyways until she finally gives up and, to prove you wrong, uses the spell. Birdley's frozen solid. An inner trance, well, walks away. It's a crazy start to the alternate route of this game. If this is where it's starting, I have no idea where the weird route will go from here. It made one hell of an introduction, though. For showing that Birdley will take things seriously when his friends are in danger, and paving the way for an insane alternate route. I feel this fight will only get better with time. Okay, for real this time, if there's any controversial pick in this list, it's right here. I've thought really hard about this, and I understand the love people have for this fight, but with all that considered, I can't justify this fight going any higher than it is. But hey, this is my list. You could think whatever you want to think, and that's okay. But this is my personal list, so I can do what I want. You could even say, I can do anything. I know, not even in the top 10. Look, okay, this game is so packed with insanely good boss fights that some of the really good ones aren't good enough. So, Jevil. First off, probably the hardest fight in the game. The Knight may have something to say about that, but he's halfway through the game. Jevil was here from the beginning. As someone who's played this game over and over while still managing to hit everything because I'm not paying attention, the difficulty of this fight gets it ranked way higher than it would have been. Because honestly, his attacks are just okay. Other than the carousel one and the devil's knife attacks, most of them are just harder versions of other enemies' attacks. Which makes sense, he's the Joker card, so he takes from all the other suits, all of which have a unique attack pattern. But visually, it's kinda eh. What saves it is the insane difficulty of it, especially during the attack where he just throws everything he's got at you. It's so satisfying to see what suit is coming up in the corner of your eye and prepare to dodge it while avoiding 10 other things. It's great. And yeah, the carousel attack is really unique and cool, don't get me wrong, he has some neat attacks. He's also the first boss to have a crazy final attack. That unfortunately means it is the most lame. Like come on, compared to Spamton getting a giant mech, Jevil just throwing a bunch of knives at you is kinda boring. I know it sounds like I'm hating on this fight, but really I'm just trying to justify its placement this low. The fight is still really fun, and I constantly look forward to it all the way through Chapter 1. But there are other factors. I feel like Jevil as an encounter will get more interesting the further into the game we get. We'll be reflecting more on what he said and what it meant as the chapters progress. But during Chapter 1, it just kinda feels like he comes and goes. Compared to Spamton, who clearly left a mark on Chris and the rest of the party, nobody really cares about what happened. Like, I don't want to keep comparing him to Spamton, but like, come on. What Jevil is a very interesting perspective on freedom. He talks about how he's the only free one, despite literally being in a cage. but he seems to be aware of that. He's more so saying by accepting that his choices don't matter, he is the only free one, at least mentally. He can rob, he can murder, he can do anything, because he knows there aren't any real consequences. And those outside, living their lives, are the real trapped ones, thinking anything they do matters. It's super interesting. But again, interesting for what it says going forward. Here it's not even really a thing. We walk in, we fight him, he says some foreshadowy stuff, and that's it. So as a fight, we like Jevil for his cool design and his strange words, but not much else. We have a strong desire to win, not for the characters or the story, but because he's really hard. And that's fine, but that's why he's here. I hope this didn't come across as a Jevil hate campaign. I think he's underrated. As I said, I find him really interesting. It just doesn't translate to his fight too well. And I would be remiss as to not mention his cool voice lines. He's the first character to the game to have actual voice dialogue, and like he says some cool stuff, but I'm really here for his laugh. I love it. Okay, can I talk about the world revolving now? Oh my god, what a banger. It's so foreboding. It almost sounds cursed. It sounds as though someone is sowing the seeds of your destruction, while at the same time being the most bouncy, insane clown song I've ever heard. It ending with the main theme being played over and over and over solidifies my thoughts on how this fight will get more impactful with time. It's a warning. Jevil as a character is a warning. He learned something he shouldn't have and it drove him insane. Will you face the same fate when the time comes? It fits perfectly. And of course, gotta give my love to the fandom dubbed Freedom motif, which plays during the secret bosses. Even if it doesn't play during the night secret boss, whatever, I don't even care. I'll talk about it more during the bosses that, sorry, have a bit more character, but the Freedom motif fits these characters so well, and I'm really hoping it continues to be used, because it's just so cool. So one last time, I love Jevil, he's cool, but as a fight, in Chapter 1, it seems as though it's there for the challenge and something to stick in your mind, and not much else. So yeah, guess you can't do anything, huh? Oh dear god. So, what do you think that Jevil guy was warning us about anyway? Oh, Christ! Oh, man. Oh, boy, Bunsen burners. I don't even know where to begin. I had a theory that most of the legend, and especially the part about the Titans, wasn't even real. I think Rouse believed it, but whoever told him it was lying. It just seemed so crazy. A world-ending apocalypse with a gigantic, well, Titans towering over the Earth in a Toby Fox game? I don't know, something about it just seemed off. Okay, yeah, never mind. Okay. So first off, the build-up. Holy... Of course, you have the warning from Rouse in Chapter 2. Seeing these Titans taller than mountains, you're like, okay, either red herring, or this is Chapter 7 stuff. Don't gotta worry about these guys for a while. Then you get through Chapter 4. You've been chasing the night, but they, just keep staying one step ahead of you. But finally, there's nowhere left to run. You got them cornered. But something's up. They're still so confident. Oh man, the look on Rouse's face when he realizes what's going down. It's haunting. You know, it's something the fandom has been asking for a while. What would happen if you opened a fountain in a dark world? What if it could get darker than dark? So the coolest cutscene of all time plays, and now you have to climb the quickly hatching shell of a god just to survive a little longer. You get a chance to rest before you're assaulted by number 24. Even beating these ants compared to what you might have to fight later gives you hope that you may have a chance. So you keep climbing. At last, you make it to the highest point in the sanctuary. It's falling apart at the seams, but you have to keep going. At the edge of a cliff with nothing but abyss below, you can finally meet your opponent face to no way. Oh, okay. Okay, no realistic face, we're good. God, at least not yet. We may have to fight a realistic face at some point, I don't want to think about that. But wow. The rising tension from the fountain being opened to the battle with the Titan is phenomenal. What an introduction to what I assume is going to be some insane late-game enemies. It's also a great final exam of sorts for the dark mechanic we've had all chapter. Most of what I said during the Titan spawn fight applies here about the light mechanic. It's super fun and nerve-wracking trying to whittle down the enemy's health just to get a little TP, something you had so much of throughout the game. As well as some really cool unique attacks like his massive claws trying to crush you. You may be wondering, how are we going to talk this fella down? You can't. Look at it. The fact that even Rouse says you have no choice but to fight this thing really makes it feel like this could be the end. If even Fluffy Boy Nice Bitch says you gotta throw hands, it's bad. You have to fight here. Mercy is not an option. The fight consists of you building up your TP from his attacks and breaking his shield down to do some real damage. Before long, however, it wraps itself in his wings and begins to recover. Every attack you throw at it does nothing as it keeps regaining health. Is this really it? After everything we've done? No, baby! He's old! It's stupid, but man, it's so hyped. Old man comes back to save the day. Teaming up with Susie, they can now use Dual Buster. It's a great culmination of their friendship throughout the chapter, all ending off to a brief callback to Susie's first ever team action before she decides referring to the stupid cashier is better. This fight is hype as hell, and that's what it needed to be. It's the halfway point of the game. Stakes are higher now. Even if that means we're fighting a mindless thingamabobber. Sorry, it's a really cool fight, but as Rouse says, this thing only exists to destroy. And sorry, can't relate. I am kinda happy about that though. We got the mindless evil monster chapter boss out of the way, making me more confident that the final encounters will focus more on the emotional side of things, which is what I'm personally more invested in. Honestly, that's part of the reason why I hope the Titan thing was fake somehow. The idea that the final boss of this game would be a bunch of mindless colossi was kinda boring, but no. Pretty sure we'll see Titans again, stronger ones too, but I doubt they'll be the final boss, so it puts my worries at ease. At the cost of this fight being against a mindless Michael here. It works, it's character building for the main cast, it's hype when the old man shows up. It's a good halfway point, stakes raiser, all that. Just, I like villains that aren't mindless beasts. I realize that ranking it this way means that the Titan is the least good chapter boss, and I think that feels right. Other than a certain Lord of Screens, it's the best chapter boss from a gameplay perspective, but every other chapter boss is a character we've dealt with all chapters, so I'm more invested in their battles. Although it is funny to look at the escalation of chapter bosses like Outlast, a humanoid King of Spades card. Distract, a humanoid laptop. Calm down, a humanoid television. Kill God. It's great. The music is incredible, of course. About what I expected from an endgame heroic battle theme against a god. It uses the chapter 4 area themes and the main theme perfectly. It works really well. Just nothing phenomenal. In any other game, it'd be a fantastic final boss. The build-up, the payoffs, the old men. But we're stuck imagining the nightmares we're about to face past the halfway mark. Oh boy. So like, that last fight had it all. Incredible gameplay, climactic feel, it was great. What could top that? Two children fighting in a basement. It's that kind of game. As far as I'm concerned, this is where the fights start to get insanely good. Oh man, this fight. See, here's the thing about the Titan fight. You get all your flashy moments and the epic music or whatever, but you're lacking the spice, the story, the character, and this fight has that in spades. Get it? As I've said, the strongest part of Chapter 1 by a decent margin is Susie's character arc, and this is the highlight. It all works so well. Lancer has grown to really care for the Lightners, especially Susie. Whether that's because of what Rase says, Darkners exist to make Lightners happy and entertain, or if it's genuine friendship, he loves these guys, but he also loves his dad. Unfortunately, these two are going to fight at some point, and so the best course of action is to keep them separated as long as possible. Keep them safe in the castle's prison. It's a bit naive, but he's a kid. He doesn't want to see his new friends or his father hurt. And knowing both his dad and Susie, there's a good chance that happens. Despite finding him a bit annoying at first, Susie really warms up to Lancer. She really feels like she can be herself around him, like she can trust him. We don't know much about Susie at this point in the story, but we've seen her mood improve so much around Lancer, which is why it's so tragic that things had to turn out this way. Without hearing the full reason, Susie hears that Lancer is the one that locked them away, betrayed her, just like everyone else. Of course Lancer wasn't a real friend. Why would he be? Why would anyone want to be friends with her? So she lashes out. She has to. After all, that's what she is. A bully. It's so sad. Let's get the one bad thing out of the way. The attacks are kinda lame, but like, that's not even remotely the point of this fight. It's so heartbreaking seeing Lancer start to intentionally miss his attacks, probably at first to avoid hurting her, but as Susie assaults him more and more, he seems to become too weak to aim, shaking as Susie keeps crushing him into the ground with her axe. And oh my fucking god, the music! This is one of the best songs of the game, hands down. It's so easy to hear in the song the aggression and anger Susie's feeling. You can hear how much she doesn't want to fight, but she has to. This is who she is. I cannot wait to see how the song is either used again or referenced in some eventual rematch. Probably not against Lancer, but like, you know, that's gonna be heart-wrenching. It all ends as Susie collapses to the ground, finally strong enough to admit she doesn't want to fight. She doesn't want to hurt the only person she could call a friend. Now Lancer explains why he locked them away, and Susie is met with a choice. This whole game, she's been attacking everything for fun. But now the final mark to take out is the father of her best friend. She's forced to think of another way around, which leads to Susie asking Chris and Rase for help. It's such a good character arc, man. It's so well written. And there's still more to go for this chapter, but that's it for now. But yeah, this fight's amazing. Gameplay-wise, it's not that good, but this game isn't just about the gameplay. It's about the story, the characters, the emotions, and this fight nails it. Anyways, emotions are cringe. Here's Queen. I love Queen so much. Not even remotely a hot take, but like, come on, she's great. After King was this menacing figure you only heard about from his subjects, not even knowing what he looks like until you see him cast in shadow at the top of his castle, we get Queen, who just hangs out with you all chapter. She appears constantly to taunt you, search for Noelle, attempt to hire you, play arcade games with you, rant about how annoying Birdley is. And then there's this cutscene. There's not even a point to this one. She just shows up to play a carnival game, takes a prize, decides she doesn't want it, and then leaves. It had no narrative purpose, she just wanted to do it. And I love it. That's not to say she was a goofball the whole time. Okay, well she is, but like having an airtight plan to save Noelle from her capture fall apart as she reveals she's captured and mind-controlled Birdley with Noelle back in her possession raises the stakes of her final battle. In terms of enemy projectiles matching the vibe of the character throwing them, this is one of the best fights in the game. You have some basic stuff like her attempting to crush you under her high heels, her shooting some basic lasers, and even forcing Birdley to shoot some tornadoes as he does. But my favorite attacks are the ones that take advantage of her being essentially the internet personified. The attack where you have to dodge a bunch of people talking in a chat room, and then its second variation where Queen introduces drama, and now you have to dodge all the angry words. It's cool, I love it a lot. Her final attack failing to download because of the internet being down, so now it's just a regular attack with a bunch of pop-ups that block the projectiles. All her attacks are so creative and takes full advantage of the character we're fighting against. All the while, you're trying to loosen Birdley from his teenage suitable control wire, and man, it's satisfying to try and hit all the wires. It's nothing too complex, but it's fun. Occasionally, she'll fill up her chalice with some, it's acid, guys. Now you gotta make a toast to reduce the shield. It's okay. There's no, like, minigame you play to remove some of it, but it's charming enough. Gameplay-wise, this battle doesn't do anything insane, but it's one of the best traditional fights the game has to offer. And the music. I don't have to say anything. I feel like there's no other way to transition into talking about the music than just being like, it's good. It's all good, it's not surprising. Same here, song's amazing. Although, I will say one issue I have with it, I feel like it has way too much Birdley in it. You could say that about a lot of things, but this song especially. Other than the opening third and the very end, it's all Birdley's themes. And like, it makes sense. He's right there. Since we're fighting Birdley and Queen, it makes sense we hear both of their themes, but Birdley's being mind-controlled. Why is the majority of Queen's battle theme taken up by his stuff? I talked about it when I was talking about Smart Race. Birdley's battle theme is a small amount of Queen's theme at the beginning, hinting at the fact that he's really just a pawn for her schemes. So why is it that when her control is taken over completely, it seems like they're fighting side by side? I don't know, it's a stupid thing to complain about, but I find it a bit annoying. Still a banger though. But yeah, overall, a lot of fun. It perfectly fits a character like this, one who never stops being silly, but can still be a bit threatening when she wants to be. And it ends so well, too. When she's finally cornered, she pulls out her ultimate weapon. Oh no, what that? The fact that the next cutscene is super serious and lore heavy, and this is the scene that precedes it, is hilarious. Piss off. But King's is better. I feel like King as a character doesn't get the appreciation he should. He's not in the game a lot, but the whole sequence with him at the end of Chapter 1 is one of the best moments in the whole game. As I said, this guy's been built up to all chapter. Susie has to find a way to end the fight peacefully for her bud, but all we've heard about this guy is that he hates us. But like, he can't be that bad. He's pretty bad. The fight begins and it's Chapter 1, so it's standard. It's cool how he moves the battle box around with this sick chain, and I really like the sound it makes, but other than that, it's nothing too complex. This fight doesn't rank this high because of the mechanics of the fight. Also because it's really easy to cheese. Just use Courage to raise everyone's defense, shield with Susie and Rousey to get the TP you lost using Courage back, and rinse and repeat. You'll be fine. The music is really good. Again, I told you, how else am I supposed to do it? It's interesting that it includes the legend motif. I guess it signifies his place in it, the guardian of the first fountain, the fountain that kicks off this grand adventure. All that's good. This fight ranks as high for the character stuff though. While I like Queen more as a character, I think King is a better antagonist. After the fight with him ends, he's pretty tired out, tuckered even. So Rousey, being the nice guy he is, or trying to change the prophecy through kindness, decides to heal him up, which King takes full advantage of. The cutscene that follows is I hate this word, I really do. I think it's overused constantly. But goddammit, it's peak, okay? Gallery begins blasting again as King stands up with a crooked smile. Susie attempts to face him again, which King responds with a volley of spades. But Chris jumps in at the last moment. Susie's shocked Chris would take a bullet for her. It doesn't matter, however, as King assaults them all once again. Spare me the heroics. Chris is all alone. Towering over them, King asks if they're the leader, but their plan is to defeat him. When he isn't given a response, he picks Chris up, their entire body fitting in his massive hands. Quiet people piss me off. It's been said before, but it's clear King is meant to be the worst version of Susie. Hateful to anyone he doesn't know. Aggressive. A bully. Like, come on, this is so sick. Maybe it shouldn't rank this high as a boss fight, as it's pretty tame, but character-wise, this is so good. Maybe that's all you need. Which means we're getting close to that great marriage. No, not these two. We've had fantastic battles with lacking character moments. We've had great story beats with lacking fights. Soon we'll get the mixture of them. Not like we haven't had any yet, but we're getting to the really good fights now, so let's keep going. So when I was playing Chapter 3 with my friends for the first time, we couldn't find the secret boss. The game just came out, so we couldn't look stuff up, but we were absolutely stuck. So we looked it up, and we saw a bunch of BS that ended up being how to get the egg, not the secret boss. But we read one that was like, after you fight Tenna, you keep going, and then you go aside, and after you fight the Roaring Knight, and that's where we stopped reading, because it was clearly a joke. It was not a joke. For the record, we didn't feel spoiled at all because this moment was so hype. That's why I tell the story, other than it's funny, I think. The Knight. In Chapter 3. Well, okay, first off, this is a required fight, but unless you were Tony Fox himself, you aren't going to win. However, if you reload your save and try again, you will see that you can actually win, which is a really cool idea. The story forced lost battle is actually possible if you're just good enough. It's sick. You also, quote-unquote, need the Shadow Mantle, but it is still possible to win without it. And that's the secret boss. The fact that this fight is possible to win. While I will miss the little Scrimblow secret bosses, as well as the Freedom Motif, this was a cool twist on the formula. And man, is it a tough fight. Even with the Shadow Mantle, they do so much damage, even doing over 1,000 damage if your HP goes below 0, forcing you to use a Revivement. And these attacks are hard to dodge, man. We've got like 2 Sans references in this one fight, it's rough out here. This attack where they split the battle box is cool, but when he splits it diagonally, it forces the soul into one of the projectiles, and I feel like that's really unfair. Like, there's just not a lot I can do about it, and I don't like this game, it's bad. Every attack the Knight uses feels so powerful. The heavy slash of the sword, the pulsing of its purple laser thingy. It feels like the toughest opponent we faced, not just from a gameplay perspective. The song adds a lot to that as well. I love how the song gets wavy near the end of it, like you're losing your focus. The reason this guy is this low, see, it's the same thing with the Titans, right? We don't know too much about this guy. And, like, it's been built up to all game, but bro's not saying anything. That, and I'm pretty sure this won't be the last battle with the Knight, so I should save a higher spot for when we know more about them in what will probably be a better fight than this. But the shock value alone gets it pretty high. That and Susie trying to sound badass as we're all getting beat up. Like, you know that one meme where it's like, you and your friend get let go from the cartel, and your friend mutters, all bark and no bite, huh? It's a great fight. I'm just assuming the next one with them will be even better. Also, as for who I think the Knight is, I was on Team Noelle's mom / the mayor before Chapter 3 and 4 came out, and you'd think I'd feel vindicated right now, seeing as it makes a lot of sense. But, like, I see the deer horns, I'm just not thinking it anymore. Now, you could say Des, maybe even Rudy, but I feel like we're all ignoring the obvious answer here. That's right, Elliot from Open Season. Just think about it, okay? First off, there's been a meme going around based on the theory that Des, Noelle's sister, went missing because of Asgore. Asgore got kicked off the police force a while ago, so it would make sense that these two events would be related. So this animation of Asgore running over Des has gotten very popular. But you know what that animation is based off of? That's right, Open Season. And the original character getting hit is also a deer. But why Elliot? Sure, he's the one in the animation, but there's a lot of deers in this movie. Well, do you see it? Right there. Enhance. Right there. His left antler is broken off. Now you may say, this disproves it. The Knight has both. Well, I believe this is a red herring to move us away from Elliot. In fact, Toby has even hinted towards this. If you are able to beat the Knight, Susie attacks and slams her axe into the knight's blade, and a piece of it chips off, just like Elliot's horn. So now you see. I am now 100% sure that Elliot from Open Season is the Roaring Knight. But hey, that's just a theory. I'm not alone in thinking Chapter 4 was a turning point. We've had some dark moments in this game so far, some terrifying foes, some close calls, but it was always alright in the end. Hell, even after Undyne got kidnapped, we were still able to enjoy our time at church, have some fun moments. Even the Sanctuary felt like a nice reprieve from all the stress of the shelter. The little funny cup guys, you're taking too long, especially the old man who added a lot of life to this chapter that felt a bit barren at times. That's when the second act hits, and the hand strikes midnight. It's pitch black. All you can trust are the sound waves from your footsteps, giving you a glimpse of your surroundings. But the old man is near. He's kooky. He's old. You chase him down, hoping to get some help, some advice, but he keeps running away. You hear noises in the distance. A violin. A church bell. You chase the sound until you end up separated. Susie's on her own. Finally, the old man reveals himself. But something is very wrong. Where do I even begin with this fight? If you missed a certain fight earlier in the game, you're completely blindsided right off the bat. Your soul is now green. No more running away, no more dodging. It's too dark to rely on your sight. Here, only your ears can save you. A voice cries out from the darkness. Left. Suddenly, you're attacked from the left. Right. Up. As the fight progresses, you get less and less time to react. A very tense and slow percussion track rings out as you fight, slowly adding more instruments the further you make it. But how much longer can you make it? The real fight finally begins. All we can see is our silhouettes. The old man's glowing a deep red. The music gets louder. Every bang of the drum urges you to slip up. How long can you pay attention? Left, up, right, up. Why is the old man doing this? Is he angry? Should Susie have not opened the dark world? Right, up, right. The air crackles with sound. If he doesn't snap out of it, we may be forced to defend ourselves. No, we just need to wait for Rousey. He can calm him down. Right? Right. Left. Right. Left. 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 Right. Up. Right. Up. Up. Right. Battle against the old man's armor is the true turning point of the game. Dark Worlds are no longer these fun adventures. We can meet wacky characters, we can play Punch-Out, we can make friends. But there is something more sinister about these worlds. If used in the wrong way, they can shift from feeling like a dream to a nightmare. The mystery, the insane buildup, the music and how it slowly rises in intensity, and the unique use of the green soul, relying on sound to keep you safe, all make this fight one of the most intense battles I've seen in any game from an atmosphere perspective. From a story perspective, it's the straw that breaks Susie's back. Finally confronting Rousey about why he keeps so many secrets, why he waits until the last moment to reveal very important, very distressing news, only for Rousey to begin crying. He knows so many things. He doesn't want to tell them unless he absolutely has to in an attempt to protect them. Susie's true nature shines through again, and she forgives him, urging him to be more honest in the future, improving their relationship and both of them as characters. What an insane fight. It's a great reminder to not be afraid of the dark, but what could be hiding within. Like, for example, a big jack-o'-lantern man. Okay, do you remember when I said the ranking scale I made could be ignored if I liked a fight enough? This right here is the shining example of that. As you can see, I ranked the music a 3. I like the music. It's a good reference to the little ghost song Napstablook made, and it keeps the theming of spooky intact. I like how it starts all menacing and then switches to a swing tempo to make you be like, oh wait, what? But overall, it's just not too deep or interesting. It didn't need to be, but still. And as for build-up, this guy just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's fine, but it hurts his score a bit. And yet, I do not care. This fight reminded me why I love Toby's game so much. It introduces the dark mechanic of Chapter 4. You can't get TP nearly as easily as before, yet you need to shine a bright light. How do you get it? In later fights, you collect it from the remains of a spawning god's underlings. Here you play world's hardest game for it. Oh man, the battle mechanics are so cool in this fight. Every attack brings you to a unique haunted house-esque layout with the previously mentioned TP Pac-Man pellets. You have to maneuver around looking for the key while you avoid these eyeballs, I think. It's so charming. All the houses look unique, some of them even have like trees outside for some reason. It's a lot of fun. It's nice that such a cool and unique mechanic actually lets you take it in, you know? I mean, a lot of the attacks in this game are so crazy, but they're over just like that, so actually getting some time to sit back and enjoy the... It's so good. Just like the song, this is absolutely terrifying at first. Actual spoken words yelled at you in this growly voice saying, "You are taking too long!" And then chasing you, it's terrifying. Until it isn't. It would have to be a reference, but probably not, to the time where everyone edited Toby's tweets to say other shit. This sentence gets mixed around to say so many things. Your soul gets stretched out. A cute version of the pumpkin comes out to stop you instead. You pick up a tutu rather than a key. You drop the tutu. I cannot express how much I love this. The part when you finally get enough TP, it can fight back against the evil pumpkin, and it starts going like, "Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia." Its stupid little face. Like, there's no objective reason I love this fight or whatever, it's just so much fun. It's fun incarnate. Stupid fucking Jackenstein. I love the way he talks. His stupid smiley and frowny faces, everything. Such a good fight. Such a good fight. But again, it does have some weak points. Can't go all the way to the top on fun alone, unfortunately. It already cheated to get this high. But yeah, it's pretty great. Punch out time, baby. Get in the Mac, baby. Eat the fucking chocolate bar. As if Chapter 2 couldn't get any better. I don't know how he did it. I remember thinking during the Queen fight, this fight's okay, it feels a bit anticlimactic, but like, it's alright I guess. And somehow Toby was like, no, second phase, baby. And it's a callback to Queen's arcade game at the beginning of the chapter, and it brings together all these loose elements of the chapter, like the Thrash Machine and Sweet Cap and Cakes. It's so perfect. It fits Queen so well. A giant mech fight down Main Street of Cyber City while she tries to convince everyone to join her side using skateboards. I'd join her, that seems badass. I have nothing to say about the gameplay because it's Punch-Out. It's incredible. You can buff yourself based on what head you picked all the way back in Chapter 1, which is really cool, but you can also just not suck at the game and be good at Punch-Out. The music is so high-octane, I don't know if that's a descriptor, but it's alright. Knock You Down. Knock You Down. That's such a good name for this song. It's such a good finale to this kick-ass chapter, while still not clashing with the Queen's previous lore dump about the night, and not dampening the really tense resolution when the Queen gets us all in her grasp, only for Noelle to finally stand up for herself, saving the day. I love Chapter 2, okay? Yeah, Chapter 4 is probably better, but the final battle is Punch-Out. How many times do I gotta say it? That is... unless... If Birdley's Snowgrave battle showed he's a better person than we thought, it's Spamton's Snowgrave battle that showed he's a worse person than we thought. Somehow. In the normal route, it's clear he empathizes with Chris at least somewhat, and really intends to bring them to heaven with him. But here, He sees the destruction and death these Lightners are bringing and decides to help them just so everyone is too distracted with what they're doing to realize what Spamton's up to. When literal children are being murdered due to his assistance, he sneaks into the mansion and does what he's been working towards for years. It's only when Chris is about to close the fountain, only when it affects him, does Spamton step into action, which changes the vibe of this fight. It's a neat contrast to the genocide route from Undertale, which the weird route or Snowgrave route gets compared to a lot. In both alternate routes, you are the villain. In Undertale though, the characters you fight are the heroes and heroines. But here, Spamton is better than you, I guess, but not really, it's just for selfish reasons. He's not defending his people or home, he's defending his power. I love that, by the way. He feels like he's been betrayed by everyone, so who cares if they get frozen. I don't know if you could tell, but I like Spamton a bit. The fight is the same as it is normally, except for one very important difference. Remember when we fought the knight and Susie was taunting the person who could kick her ass easily, that as long as she has her friends by her side, they stand no chance? I mean, she was kinda right. Getting 3 actions per turn is really nice. You can progress the fight with 2 and heal with the last one or whatever else, it's nice. Not here. Chris is all alone. They get access to the exclusive for this fight Cross Slash, but if you want to heal, that's damage you're not doing to the boss. Spamton is one of the easier secret bosses. Ignore the video I did on him where I died a lot, I forgot about the chart shot, okay, shut up. But on your own, he becomes one of the toughest fights in the game, I feel. I die to him more than any other fight in the game, other than the Knight because they're new, I guess, and ERAM, but I'm bad at Zelda and I have no shame in that. But just when you think you've won, Spamton powers up, at least defensively. Claims his Neo suit is famous for its high defense, which is, well, you can't leave a scratch on him now. His attacks are weak, but with no way to hit back, you'll be dodging them forever, until you can't anymore. All you can do is cry for help. For Susie, for Rousey, your friends. All while Spamton mocks you. You have only one other thing you can try. You call for her help. Even Spamton is shocked at your cruelty. You damaged her, abused her, took away her innocence, and you're still calling for her help? It's quite a fight. It's a good skill check for the weird route, as I imagine there's going to be some more exclusive bosses down the line. There's more to say about the fight itself, but we're going to have to save it for later. But yeah, good fight.
I'm old.
I love Gerson so much. Don't worry, he's not a nightmare creature this time. Chapter 4 is great, but man, I'm surprised Gerson is able to move around like that considering his age and the stress being put on his back due to carrying the first half. Not only is it a crazy lore thing that he's even here, he's just so much fun. We've seen the trope of the old man who teaches lessons in an unorthodox way and also can kick your ass before, but it all comes down to the writing. It always does. He's funny, he's charming, he forms a great connection with Susie, which is what gets built on for his encounter as Chapter 4's secret boss. Yes, I still miss the scrunchlows from Chapter 1 and 2, but this is a fair trade-off. This is a rare fight where despite it being a secret boss, your enemy's not trying to kill you. If you run out of health, he calls it off and you can try again. It makes it lose a very microscopic amount of points, because I like fighting an opponent that wants me dead, but the rare outlier is cool too. I really like Gerson's relationship with Susie. It's clear he knows something she doesn't. My theory is that either he knows the prophecy or was lying when he said he didn't look into the Shadow Crystal, and he did learn the same thing that drove Jevil and Spamton insane. Instead of going cuckoo, or more cuckoo, he used the knowledge to inspire others to not be as affected by it when they learn it. All through the fight, he's trying to tell Susie that prophecies are dumb. Gerson starts by basically laying out that the Lord of the Hammer book he wrote is based on the prophecy, as the first couple chapters he reads mirror the chapters in the game. He says the story was never finished. It ate the author alive. But in Susie, he sees a different story. Someone who can write their own ending. Susie says she doesn't want there to be an ending. She's finally made some real friends, and the idea that it might end, even if it's a good one, is something she doesn't want to face. He responds,
I'm old. I'm fucking old as shit. At this late hour with the bells ringing out for justice. You choose eternity.
I don't know if I've made it clear yet, but I love how Gerson is written in this fight. In his usual unorthodox way of teaching, he's trying to make the most important point he wants Susie to learn. That she does have agency, and that the story is not decided. She has the white pen, known as Hope. When Susie jokingly responds that Chris uses a pen literally as a weapon and Susie as like a hairbrush, Gerson laughs.
Is that so? Is that so?
It doesn't seem to fully click with Susie, even by the end of the fight, but I've got a feeling it will eventually. In fact, after Susie learns the ending of the prophecy, if you go back, you'll see someone holding the door shut. I'm pretty sure that was Gerson. He wants her to see the prophecy's ending, so she can learn the hard way. There's an ending coming, but it may not be decided. I don't know why he's telling Susie this. I don't know why he collects tough lesbians, it's just his thing. And most of that could be wrong, it's just my theories, my game theories, but it's all interesting. Okay, anyways, the fight itself. Holy. Green Soul is back from Undertale. Actual Gerson fight, who we knew was tough, but even in this old age, he still kicks ass. Diagonal. Koopa. It's a great use of the Green Soul, and it's pretty tricky. Also, to spare him, you actually gotta fight him. He dodges because he's sick like that, but every attack impresses him more. And when you use your Root Buster, he parries it back. It's so cool. I love the ending as well. Susie uses her subpar magic, tricking the old man into thinking it's to impress him, but it's really just a distraction, using her own ingenuity to end the fight. It's great. The music, man, Hammer of Justice. Freedom motif is back. The knight didn't need it anyways. This fight very much deserves the first 20 out of 20 ranking, but we're only at number 3. We have 2 more slots to go. Which means the second I reveal number 2, if you've been paying attention, number 1 is also revealed, but like whatever, don't worry about that. Well, without further ado, let's finish this.
Mr. Antenna's TV time.
Oh, Tenna. I have so much to say about the sensation of our screen. As someone who's been in the trenches in between chapters 2 and 3, Tenna has been someone I've been very invested in for a long time. We saw that crazy ending where Chris opened a dark fountain, and we all sat there in awe. But as we stared into the deep black of our screens, it began to stare back. Ooh. What's this guy gonna be like? We used to think his name was Mike until the URL told us that Spamton didn't actually hate Mike, but contributed all his hatred towards a person named Tenna. What were they gonna be like? Now, I won't lie, Tenna had a lot of living up to do. Not only because he would probably be the main focus of the first chapter in 3.5 years, but also at this point he had multiple fan-made interpretations of himself to go up against. Not to mention all of them were sleazy, TV, executive, evil douchebags, which made sense. Look at his introduction. Look at how Spamton thinks of him. Tenna might be straight up evil, money grubbing, only caring about entertainment for his audience without a care for the safety of his contestants. Tenna, the Lord of Screens. What would he be like? And then we get the guy, and he likes silly dances. Don't get me wrong with this whole speech. Tenna took a bit of warming up to, but as of now, I love the real Tenna we got. First off, nobody guessed he would be in 3D. I have to assume that Toby knew this would be a character that would get many fan interpretations and just had to do something unique. I doubt it, right? He probably just had this in mind and went for it, but still, so cool and unique. And as for his character, I never considered the angle of him being desperate for the dreamer's attention. Not for some malicious plot, kinda. Not just for the attention, kinda, but out of a care for Chris. It's clear he really does care for the dreamers. He laughs with Chris and Azriel mocking the chefs on his show. Maybe it was part of his manipulation, but I really felt like he cared. It's kinda memed on now, but the line that made me turn around on him was him looking down and saying, "The family's fighting again." It became clear who Tenna really was. He felt abandoned, probably in the same way Chris does. Sorry for the tiny character essay in this boss ranking video, but you notice I didn't do this for, like, Queen or anything. I really like Queen, and there's not nothing to her character. She wants the best for Noelle because of her strange and sad searches. But I find Tenna to be far and away the most compelling main boss we've had so far. And that all relates to his boss fight, finally, right? It would be one thing if his character was good, and his boss fight was also pretty good. Sort of like King in a way, but no. The mechanics of this fight go off the wall insane. He has some basic attacks that are fine, whatever. But to win, you have to get over 1,000 points. How do you get 1,000 points? WarioWare, baby! Now, I'm not as big a fan of WarioWare as I am for Punch-Out, but it works so well here. Switching from the cooking show minigame we did earlier in the chapter to the guitar game we did with the music actually matching up to the boss theme, then over to the western set which surely doesn't remind me of anything, shoot some shadow guys only for it to be flipped on its head later as Tenna tries to shoot at us, and then switching to some other shit like switching channels on a TV. It's so fun. The gameplay variety here is the best in any boss fight. And since most of it is easy to understand or stuff we've already done, it can focus on increasing the speed and making things more intense. It feels like a big culmination of everything in this chapter. I love it. And his theme, It's TV Time, banger. If you get the last minute or so to line up with his final attack, it's one of the best feelings in the game. Speaking of which, Tenna has easily the best final attack. You rapidly switch between these minigames, eventually only staying on one for like a second or two, barely keeping up until the grand finale. Knock your socks off one last time. Fire some hearts at his head for one last showdown. It's so good. What a climactic end. Also, the channels end at 66. That's probably not referencing anything. What a sick fight. Combining all the cool elements of Chapter 3 into one great battle. It's the main reason I made this video, actually. I just really wanted to talk about it. So to justify it, I wrote an almost 35-page long script, which will probably be like an hour and a half. So thanks, Tana. Hope nothing bad happens to you. And there you have it. 36 bosses ranked. Only one more to go. Who will it be? I mean, we don't have to pretend like it wasn't obvious. Yeah, I'm biased, what of it? While this fight is immensely popular, I don't know how many people would rank it at the #1 spot. But it's the fight I have the most to talk about. There's so many aspects of this fight I love so much. As I talked about before, your first encounter with this corrupted salesman wasn't exactly pleasant. He's sporadic, his sentences are interrupted with what might be advertisements. But like, yeah, this is a Toby Fox game. It's full of these wacky characters. Sure, he's a bit strange, but it's a fun strange. I mean, look at him. He says stuff like, "You gotta grab life by the silly strings." So when the fight ends and he says, "Like and subscribe for more," and now he wants to meet with you later? Hell yeah. Once you do, you find his shop, and it's about what you expect. You learn a bit about him, or at least what you can, from his broken speech, which is still uncomfortable, but again in a funny way. He asks you to retrieve something from the Queen's basement, which isn't too difficult. It's a creepy area, but it's fairly short, and aside from this nightmare, you're probably out in a few minutes at most. He's overjoyed when you get back to him, and he asks you to take him to the basement now. He slinks himself into the disc you found, and his shop just stops. Turns monochrome, and the same dinky little tune that played before slows down. Spanton gave off these old internet corrupted vibes before, but the empty shop feels uncomfortable in a way the game hasn't touched yet. You make your way back down to the basement and insert him into the machine, and nothing happens. That is, until... It's at this point you realize all you've done is help a mentally insane homeless man gain an immense amount of power. Now he's saying the same silly things, his speech is still getting cut off by ads, but it's all wrong. He's angry. Not at you. He's angry that he still feels trapped, tied up by his strings. The only way up now is with your help once more. He'll take you both to heaven. He just needs that little soul you have. I don't know about you, but I love the trope of little pathetic goblins who nobody takes seriously, suddenly gaining a ton of power and becoming a massive threat. What makes it more interesting is that Spanton really believes he's trying to help you. He sees Chris as being controlled. Maybe he doesn't see to the extent Chris is actually being controlled, but he seems to understand somewhat. He stays focused on his mission though, his path to freedom, but when he sees it wasn't enough, his mind is so far gone he attempts to murder Chris in a belief that it will set them both free. What else, and something that's supported by the conversation after the battle, is that Chris seems genuinely betrayed by this. Once Spanton starts threatening Chris, they look like they just accept it, either out of sadness at a betrayal of what they thought was a friend, or worse, out of a want for Spanton to take their soul. Maybe they think this is the way to freedom. Maybe it actually would have been. It's super interesting. Chris is genuinely upset when Spanton is defeated, and it couldn't have just been the creepy imagery. They really thought this might lead to something, but they're right back where they started. I think that's why Spanton is this high. I'm sure there will be some fantastic boss fights in the future, but the game's not done yet. Spanton's one of the few characters whose story arc is over. We know the beginning, middle, and tragic end, and it's really good. It says a lot about Chris, the overarching theme of control. He doesn't say as many foreshadowing thingies as Jevel does, but he feels super important to the future of the story while being connected to the characters a lot more. Jesus, I haven't even talked about the fight yet. It's great. For the first time in Deltarune, our soul changes color, yellow. The same color Metaton's fight got, which makes the overall Metaton reference this fight is clear. The fight consists of Spanton throwing his heads, roller coasters carrying bombs, and his patented Pippus. It still keeps up that creepy vibe with attacks like the one where he's slowly crawling towards you, forcing you to shoot at him to slow him down. Ending the fight by turning into a giant mech, which has got to be the craziest final attack, even if the attack itself is nothing too crazy. And the music. Fellas. I talked about Big Shot a lot in my top 10 video game songs, which it shouldn't be surprising that it's on there, but it's still my favorite song in the game by a decent amount. What I love about Big Shot is how layered it can get. During the Freedom motif segment, you have these angelic synths blasting out of the main part, while Metaton Neo's motif plays aggressively in the background. The second time around, some hard to make out lyrics show up for a bit. It all sounds so good together. It's a thrill ride of a song, never slowing down. If it does, it's to build back up to the crazy finale. Despite how intense it is, it also sounds a bit sad. Stanton used to be a regular person, a salesman, and seeing how far down he's fallen, not even being a person anymore. The freedom motif part almost sounds like a cry for help, like he's calling towards someone. Chris? His friends? Mike? Is he delusional enough to be calling for heaven? It's hard to say, but it quickly gets drowned out by the chaos once again. It's a great song. The only way to stop the fight peacefully is to cut his strings. Who knows what's going to happen when they all get cut, but he's not going to calm down unless they're gone. He seems to think positively about it. Once he's off the silly strings, he'll fly into the sky, finally free. But what happens instead? In his final moments, he returns to his normal state of mind and wishes you all the best in cutting your own strings, before turning into a weapon for you to use. Maybe I'm being biased, maybe Tenna or Gerson are better and my Chapter 2 bias is getting in the way, but I really love this fight. You could ignore most of that and still see Stanton as the goofy fellow, which he still is. The fight still works like that. I love the attack where he gets a phone call, is annoyed it's for you, and launches Pippus at you, and then later on he's overjoyed to see that a call is actually for him, only to be met with this. It's funny. But I also really like how deep you can dive into the character and the underlying tone the fight really has, and what it means for the story going forward. I also find the fight really fun. The yellow soul needs to be used a lot more often, it's great. But yeah, for being a creative, solid fight from a mechanical standpoint, having, in my opinion, the best song of the game is its battle theme, and being attached to a deceptively interesting and tragic character, it is easily my favorite fight in the game. Holy king of roly-poly, it's finally over. That took a while. I don't have much to say now that we're at the end, other than I didn't expect it to be as long as it is, but I had a lot to say for some of these, so I shouldn't be surprised. If you made it this far, thank you. It's clear you are as Delta-brained as I am, and I respect your insanity. When Chapter 5 and beyond drop, I'll probably make an update video, as well as some changes I might make to this list. But right now, it seems pretty solid. Don't expect me to switch around like Arcade Queen and the K-Round rematch. We'll see. Until then, I'll see you next time.